A kind man opened his door to a skinny dog and her puppy. What followed was simply amazing. Tom trudged home through steady rain, soaked to the bone and weary from a long day at the auto shop. The taste of grease lingered in his mouth, mixed with the persistent worry gnawing at his gut. The bills were piling up, and there was little room for error. As he climbed the steps to his front porch, visibility was low, shadows danced, and something small caught his eye. He squinted through the downpour, heart racing, a skinny dog and her emaciated puppy huddled together, trembling. His instincts kicked in, demanding compassion, but the weight of financial strain surged back, heavy in his chest. Could he afford to take on another mouth to feed? He hesitated, conscience battling against obligation. After all, who was he to add to his burdens? But that puppy looked up at him, eyes wide and pleading. As he stepped toward them, thoughts of his daughter Mia flashed through his mind. Could he look her in the eye and explain why he'd turned them away? Determined, he pushed the door open wider, inviting them in against the chill of the evening. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and the tiny family grew. Tom and Mia named the dog Bella and the pup Max. They spent countless evenings watching as Mia laughed, the two dogs bounding around the living room, a warmth Tam had not felt since losing his wife. Yet beneath those moments of delight simmered the relentless reminders of reality. Each time he opened the fridge, he felt the gnawing anxiety about their dwindling food supplies. Every time the phone rang, it echoed his dread of receiving yet another notice from the electric company. The happiness they shared was straining him from the inside out. He didn't want to be unkind, but what was more precarious, maintaining this photography of family happiness or securing their meager existence? He often caught himself in the mirror, staring at the circles under his eyes, wondering how long he could juggle life's demands without crumbling. A quiet storm brewed within him as the burden of his daughter's future twisted tighter, mingling with the fear of losing his newfound companions in a world that rarely seemed ready to offer kindness in return. But then, the storm broke. Bella's collar revealed a clue that sent shockwaves through their tranquil routine. He discovered she was not a mere stray. A champion show dog, belonging to some koala-exacting owner with wealth and connections. Tom's heart raced with confusion. Should he keep Bella, who had become a piece of his family, or surrender her to a life that seemed glittering on the surface? The thoughts anchored him, dragging him further into the depth of his confusion. Could he stand up to someone who had the power to make him feel like a nobody? Doubt surged into every recess of his mind. What would happen after doing the right thing? His heart clenched tight as a sudden wave of nostalgia brought back memories of his wife. What would she have said, seeing Bella with them? But then again, was this worth risking everything? The looming confrontation with the wealthy owner weighed heavily in his chest. Would saving Bella cost Tom his daughter's future? The choices felt crushing, as though the stakes had never been higher. The one thing Tom always stood for, honesty, was about to drag him into an abyss he wasn't sure he could escape from. As the rain beat down on the roof, echoing their uncertainty, it was clear. Their journey was just beginning, leading them into shadows darker than they had ever known. With the weight of his discovery heavy on his shoulders, Tom paced through the living room. Bella and Max were blissfully unaware of the turmoil swirling around him, lost in playful interactions with Mia. Their innocence, a source of warmth, contrasted sharply with the cold reality that gripped Tom's heart. He watched as Mia threw a crumpled ball, laughter cascading through the swollen silence of his thoughts. Yet joy seemed distant, clouded by an impending decision that loomed over him like a storm. What could possibly be the right choice here? It wasn't just about Bella's future. It was about shaping his family's trajectory. The image of the wealthy owner flashed through his mind, a polished figure wrapped in privilege and entitlement. Tom's stomach churned at the thought of facing someone who could swing an entire conversation with a flick of their wrist. As the days passed, that nagging question became an obsession, twisting and turning in his mind. Could he renegotiate the fragile peace they had built together? Or was he simply a fool for believing his kindness could bear the weight of a well-oiled machine of legalities and status? Each time the phone rang, he thought about ignoring it. Yet deep down, he knew that avoidance wouldn't ease his burden. It would only amplify his fears. In the quiet moments, he found himself drifting towards a window, gazing out at the fog-shrouded street. What if he simply chose to hold on to Bella, fighting against all odds? Yet fear clawed at him, whispering that his inexperience would be his undoing. He could no longer ignore the real prospect of losing everything. It was not just a dog. It was part of what made them a family again. Mornings turned into evenings, and Tom remained restless. The muddy waters of doubt clouded his focus at the auto shop, and he began to question the value of the work he was doing. Undoubtedly, a commitment to his craft had always defined him. But now he struggled to find meaning amidst the mechanics. Would clinging to this effort somehow fortify his resolve, giving him strength for the confrontation ahead? Or would it drain what little energy he had left? A solution brewed within him, vague yet potent. A desire to reclaim agency over his life. He began reaching out to others, sharing bits of his story here and there. There were local forums dedicated to pet owners, people who spoke of behavior training and healthy care routines for dogs. Some resonated with his plight, and the stories fueled the flickering flame of hope buried in his chest. He had skills beyond the auto shop. He could learn, adapt, and even defend those he cared about. Feeling emboldened, Tom started developing a plan, jotting down notes about Bella's training schedules and possible local networks to engage with. The thought of gathering information wrought a sense of purpose that felt foreign, but invigorating. It was time to transform his uncertainty into motivation, to prepare himself not just for a fight over Bella, but for a future that could hold more than mere survival. Yet, uncertainty still clutched at him. The more he pushed forward, the more evident it became that his life was balancing on a knife's edge. As he gathered the needed courage to confront Bella's owner, an email pinged on his phone, a message from someone claiming to have information about Bella's past. The subject line read, "Your dog's history." His pulse quickened. Was this a chance for clarity or another wave of complications? Tom exhaled slowly, gripping the phone tightly. The reckoning was near, and he had no idea what would unfold next. Tom stared at the screen, his mind racing with the potential implications of the email. Information about Bella's past could unlock a door to understanding her behavior, or it could thrust him into a whirlwind of challenges he wasn't prepared for. He felt the anxiety knot in his stomach, wrestling with the hope that maybe this was the key he needed to secure Bella's future. With trembling hands, he opened the email. The sender's name was unfamiliar but resonated with warmth. Sarah, a foster parent. The message was straightforward yet tantalizingly vague. I have details about Bella's journey before she found you. Please, let's talk. Was this Sarah a potential ally, or another disinterested party with motives of their own? Doubts began to swirl again. Could her information be enough to tilt the balance in his favor against her wealthy owner? Tom's thoughts darted between impulse and caution. If he didn't act, the email would haunt him. Every moment that passed felt like a drop of sand falling through an hourglass. He needed clarity. He needed to find not just the courage to confront his fears, but the knowledge that could turn the tables. He didn't reply immediately. Instead, he took a moment to reflect on what this could mean for him. Understanding Bella's history could enrich his connection with her, possibly revealing traumas that he could work to alleviate. But was he truly equipped for that? He deliberated on the time and emotional energy this journey might consume, weighing it against the deepening relationship he shared with Bella, Mia, and Max. Compelled to act from both nervousness and urgency, Tom opened a new email, drafting a response filled with measured curiosity. He proposed a phone call, suggesting possible times when they could discuss Bella's story. As he clicked send, he felt a momentary relief as if he'd taken a step forward, albeit one that still left him teetering on the edge. The following days unfurled slowly, tension tightened in his chest like a coiled spring. Work at the auto shop had transformed into an outlet of focus, yet moments of stillness gnawed at him. Each time the phone buzzed or pinged, he felt jolts of adrenaline shoot through him. What if it was her owner trying to regain control? Tom started noticing not just the sounds of clanging tools and engines, but the patterns behind them. A persistent thought began to emerge. Was he being diligent about understanding the mechanics of his own life too? Each car he fixed became a metaphor for the pieces he had to join together in his own reality. As he sat down after work, reviewing Bella's training notes, he noticed a holistic picture coming together. The moments they shared, the way she hunted for her toys or gave him those earnest, almost human glances, were testament to her blossoming spirit. He recognized that nurturing her was intertwined with nurturing himself. Bella was not merely a dog in need of a home, she was a reflection of resilience, and in her, he could see shards of his own struggle for reclaiming agency. The day finally came when he received a reply from Sarah. They set a time for a phone call, and in the hours leading up to it, Tom felt a strange mixture of dread and anticipation. Deep down, he knew that this conversation could alter the entire trajectory of his mission to keep Bella safe. As the clock ticked closer to the call, he paced the living room, rehearsing possible questions. Would he find supportive insight, or face unexpected revelations? This moment would mark a pivotal point in his journey, leading him to the unknown depths of Bella's past. And then the phone rang, vibrating against the table, pulling him from his preoccupation. With a deep breath, Tom picked it up and answered. With every syllable that followed, the landscape of his life was about to shift irrevocably. What would he discover about Bella's history, and could it offer a glimmer of hope or a greater challenge ahead? Hello? The voice on the other end was steady, but tinged with a sense of urgency that immediately piqued Tom's attention. Hi, this is Tom. Thanks for getting back to me, he replied, trying to keep his voice steady despite the storm of emotion swirling inside him. Thank you for reaching out. I can imagine how concerned you are for Bella. She's a special girl, Sarah said, her warmth wrapping around Tom like a comforting blanket, even through the phone. His heart raced. What can you tell me about her? How did she end up being fostered? There was a momentary pause, and Tom could almost hear the rustling of papers as Sarah gathered her thoughts. Bella was part of a rescue operation. She was found in pretty dire circumstances, living in a situation that was abusive. A lot of the behaviors you're seeing in her now stem from that trauma. Tom's breath hitched. The image of Bella hiding from shadows, tail tucked beneath her, flashed through his mind. I see, he managed to say, trying to absorb the weight of her words. Could you help me understand what specifically she might be struggling with? As her foster parent, I had the privilege of getting to know her during a formative time. She's incredibly sensitive. Loud noises or sudden movements can trigger her. What you see as her being timid is rooted in fear, not unfriendliness. It's essential for you to create a safe space for her, Sarah explained, and Tom found himself nodding despite the phone call. Creating a safe space, he murmured, the concept tumbling through his thoughts. He realized that fostering Bella's emotional health was perhaps just as vital as her physical care. Did she have any favorite activities? Anything she responded to? A few, Sarah continued. She loves to play fetch with soft toys, and taking her for walks in quiet areas seemed to help her. But more than anything, she thrives on stability. She needs your routine, reassurance, and patience. It sounds so simple, but it's foundational for her. Tom felt the pressure in his chest release a little. He had been focusing intensely on training her, but here was insight that could deepen his approach. What about her relationship with other dogs? Does she exhibit any specific behaviors around them? This question elicited a soft chuckle from Sarah. Oh yes, Bella can be a little shy with other dogs at first, but is friendly once she feels secure. If you want her to socialize better, gradual introductions in controlled environments would be ideal. It's all about building her confidence. As Tom listened, inspiration sparked within him. The layers of Bella's behavior were becoming clearer, and though he felt a surge of compassion for her past, newfound determination settled in the pit of his stomach. This information was a lifeline he desperately needed. His role was evolving from caretaker to advocate, paternal but also a partner in healing. "Thank you, Sarah. This is incredibly helpful," he said, a new conviction creeping into his tone. "I want to do everything I can to help her feel safe and happy." "Remember, Tom," Sarah said, her voice warm yet firm, "you're not just helping Bella. You're rebuilding her trust in humans, and that can be a long process." He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her words settle over him. It was true. This task wouldn't be simple. But the challenge ignited a fire within him, a resolve to rise to the occasion, not just for Bella, but for himself as well. With the conversation winding down, Tom felt unsteady, yet resolute, as if standing on the precipice of a new chapter in his life. They ended the call, and he sat in silence, allowing Sarah's insights to reverberate in his mind. It hit him then. He needed to shift his focus from just fixing Bella to nurturing her, a parallel growth of sorts. He glanced at Bella, who now slept peacefully at his feet. The responsibility before him was colossal, but illuminated the path ahead. A glimmer of hope surfaced within him, promising the push he required, yet he couldn't shake the feeling that confronting dual shadows, Bella's emotional scars and his own vulnerabilities, would test him like never before. As twilight encased the room, Tom realized that nurturing Bella would demand everything he had. He needed to confront not just her fears, but his as well. The next day, he planned to take her to the local dog park, but even that integrated a deeper meaning. Would he have the courage to face the reactions of other dogs? Could he trust Bella to face the unknown, just as he had begun to trust himself? It was clearer now. The time had come to confront the shadows of his insecurities, revealing not just who Bella was, but who he could become alongside her. What lay ahead was uncertain, and his heart quickened again, because the moment of truth was drawing near. The sun rose determinedly the next day, spilling its golden light across the room where Tom had spent a night filled with restless thoughts about his upcoming venture to the dog park. He hadn't slept much, his mind racing with considerations of how he would manage Bella's first experiences in an environment filled with unfamiliar dogs and their people. Fear mixed uneasily with anticipation, pressing against his chest like an iron weight. After a quick breakfast, he checked his phone for messages, but nothing appeared. He glanced over at Bella, who lay curled up in her bed, a flicker of peace amidst his turmoil. "You're counting on me," he murmured, patting her head gently. She stirred slightly, her eyes fluttering open, then quickly closing again as she drifted back into her dreams. Tom took this as a good sign. Bella was gradually settling in. But the nagging worry lingered. What if she struggled? What if the other dogs became too aggressive? Or what if she completely shut down? These questions swirled around his mind, sharp as glass. Yet the phone call with Sarah had sparked a resolution in him. He hadn't walked into the park just to let Bella succumb to her fears. This day was about building bridges, and with each second ticking away, Tom felt the urgency mount. Fully dressed and leashed up, they finally stepped out of the front door. The air was crisp, tinged with the scent of fresh blossoms that whispered promises of spring. Tom paused on the threshold of a world just beyond his front porch, a world that not only held potential for Bella, but for him as well. For the first time in months, he felt his heart race not merely from anxiety, but from hope, a rare companion. The walk to the park was nerve-wracking. Every pedestrian and vehicle felt like a looming trial. He watched closely as Bella navigated the sounds of the city, her ears perked up, tail cautiously wagging. She would freeze at abrupt noises, but he noted how she remained rooted beside him, seeking his presence as an anchor. This small victory recharged Tom's spirit. He reminded himself that adaptability was key. Upon arriving, Tom was struck by the cacophony of barks and playful yelps that filled the air. The park appeared more crowded than he'd anticipated. Anxiety clawed at the edges of his resolve. Could he truly help Bella flourish in this environment? Their footing wavered as they entered, but then he recalled Sarah's words. Gradual introductions. Small steps. He found a quiet corner where a few dogs were lounging under their owner's supervision. Tom crouched down, running his hands over Bella's back in long, steady strokes. "Just breathe, girl," he murmured. Her energy pulsed beneath his fingers, her body tense, yet aware. He let her take in the surroundings. Other dogs meandering, people laughing, the scent of grass and the distant sound of a frisbee whirling through the air. As moments passed, a small, curious Labrador approached them. Tom held his breath. Was this the moment when Bella would withdraw, or could she step forward? He felt the primal tug of hope. Bella looked up at him, her eyes wide, searching for guidance. With a firm yet gentle hand still on her back, he reassured her. "You can do this." Bella remained rooted but did not retreat, staring at the approaching dog with wary interest. Tom marveled at the complexity of her reaction. It felt as though they were both learning together. He expected Bella to shy away, but instead, she shifted just slightly, her stance more relaxed than moments before. There was befuddlement in his heart, but also burgeoning pride. Perhaps confronting fears head-on was something they could both achieve. Then, without warning, a louder dog barked, drawing Bella's attention suddenly. A surge of anxiety rushed through Tom. Would she retreat into herself? Would the day unravel? But as he looked into Bella's eyes, there was something unfurling, a spark of resilience. Tom tightened his grip on the leash, poised to act, but just as he made a decision, Bella turned her attention towards him, as if she heard the very heartbeat of his encouragement. She took a step forward, tentatively sniffing the air and wagging her tail cautiously. That moment, everything around them slowed. Tom realized he was not just facing the momentum of a dog park, he was unraveling layers of his own courage. Would he allow Bella to engage, to thrive in this uncertainty? The doubt that had festered in him ebbed away, replaced by a growing recognition. He was not merely an observer but a catalyst in their shared journey. As they stood, Tom felt a shifting inside. It was more than just personal growth. It was a shared commitment to each other, a delicate bond that was beginning to form amidst the venture of uncharted territory. Then he saw a group of dogs darting towards them with energy and zest, making their arrival a chaotic, beautiful mess amidst the laughter of their owners. Would Bella stand her ground, or would she retreat back into the shadows once more? The question loomed large, and with it, Tom understood. This was not just a park. It was a battlefield for confidence and self-acceptance. The moment had arrived to lean into the chaos, together. And as Tom breathed in the wild air of possibilities, the unknown element of what would happen next began to root deeper in his heart, urging him toward an impending moment of truth that not only awaited Bella, but his very own soul. The cacophony of playful barks enveloped them, an overwhelming tide of sound and motion that almost drowned out Tom's racing heartbeat. Bella stood firm beside him. For a fleeting moment, defiance and fear warred within her. She exuded an energy that mirrored his own internal tumult, a reflection of their fragile bond forged amid uncertainty. He watched as tails wagged and bodies danced, each leap and bound a reminder of the joyful essence of being a dog. Could Bella join this vibrant tapestry? The pack of dogs surged closer, their enthusiasm like a wave crashing against the shore, and Tom felt himself tightening with every bark. Would Bella engage, or would she withdraw deeper into her insecurities? He wrestled with his instinct to pull her away, to safeguard her, when instead he knew he needed to encourage. "Stay here with me," he whispered, meeting her gaze once more, willing her to find strength in his presence. But Bella's eyes flickered, taking in the scene before her. The growing crowd of dogs, each one marked differently by its own story, felt like an invitation. She shifted her weight, leaning forward slightly, her curiosity piqued by the boisterous Labrador from earlier. Tom could almost see her brain sifting through the sensations. This was a crossroads for her, and somehow, for him, Tom's own breathing steadied as he sensed a shift inside himself. Days of self-doubt were slowly giving way to a rekindled determination. He had always felt like an outsider, trapping himself within the walls of his home. But now he realized that both he and Bella were in dire need of connection. The park wasn't merely a concrete jungle. It was a crucible for emotional growth, a chance for both of them to expand their horizons. One of the dogs, a bounding golden retriever, approached them, its tail wagging as if demanding Bella's attention. Tom's heart raced. Would she stand her ground, or would she hide behind him? The moment paused, drawn out by the weight of his expectations. Bella, catching a whiff of the new dog's playful energy, took a trembling step forward. Tom couldn't help but smile. It was as if they had both propelled into new territory. Her inhale was deep, maybe even shaky, but she held on to her composure, and for the first time, she didn't simply look to him for reassurance. She seemed to search for her own strength. "Let's go, girl," he encouraged softly, nudging her gently with his hand. "You've got this." With tentative steps, Bella inched closer. As she met the golden retriever's welcoming gaze, a fragile thread of confidence began to weave through her hesitance. Tom's heartbeat echoed in his ears, and he wondered, was this the moment where she would transform into the dog he knew she could be? Or was this just a prelude to another withdrawal? Just then, something unexpected stirred within him. The surge of his protective instincts morphed into an empowering realization. He had the ability to lead. Bella's metamorphosis depended not only on the park, but also on how much he believed in her. These thoughts reverberated through his mind. Could he shed the layers of his own fear, just as she was learning to do? "All right, let's try something new," he decided, feeling an unexpected surge of courage cresting over his anxiety like a wave. Tom began casually jogging, a small distance away, turning back to beckon her. He dared to hope. This would ignite a spark of exuberance. Would she follow? And she did, hesitating for only the briefest moment before her instinct kicked in. Summoning every ounce of will, Bella sprinted after him, her excitement overcoming the previously paralyzing fear. Tom felt exhilaration pulse through him. This was no longer just a dog park visit, but a foundational moment that echoed within him. As they ran together, laughter erupted from the surrounding owners, a joyous chorus that filled the air. Yet beneath that happiness, a sense of trepidation clung to Tom. What if he propelled this too fast? What if, in this triumph, he edged Bella toward overwhelming chaos? In that ether of joy and uncertainty, he recognized a pivotal truth. It was not only about Bella's growth, but his own liberation. As they navigated through their fears together, he found himself contemplating the deeper layers of connection, vulnerability, and growth that stretched beyond the edges of their current landscape. But the true test loomed ahead. Many more dogs awaited in the throes of chaos, and he realized, what if the larger number of dogs introduced an uncontrolled environment that left Bella reeling? The moment of doubt flickered in his mind, settling like a weight on his chest, making his breath short. With uncertainty gnawing at the edges of this breakthrough, Tom leaned forward, fully aware that the forthcoming moments held more than just frantic play. Together, they would either risk humiliation or embrace the triumph of adoption amidst the chaos. Could they transform this day into a turning point of love and acceptance? Or would it dissolve into another chapter of retreat? As the pack of wagging tails approached them once again, Tom braced for the imminent truth, knowing that the next few seconds could alter the trajectory of their journey forever. The pack surged closer, a cavalcade of fur and chaotic energy, and in that moment, Tom found himself standing at a precipice of possibility. His instincts screamed caution, just as they had before. But this time, he wrestled with a fiercely determined spirit. He wasn't just helping Bella, he was helping himself. Their surroundings transformed into a whirlpool of views. Flashing tails and excited barks reminded him that connection was messy, yet beautiful. He watched Bella as she paced toward the approaching horde, a flicker of uncertainty clouding her wide eyes. Was it too much? Panic fluttered in his chest, but he forced himself to inhale deeply, grounding himself in the realization that they were stepping into a new realm together. As the golden retriever bounded playfully into the mix, Bella hesitated, eyes darting to Tom. He sensed her need for a shield, her desire to retreat, and yet, deep down, he understood that in order to foster growth, he needed to resist that urge. "You have the strength, Bella," he whispered to her, his voice steadier than he felt inside. "Embrace this." Reassured by his encouragement, Bella took another hesitant step forward, letting out a soft whimper, a blend of curiosity and anxiety. The varied scents of the other dogs filled her nose, their exuberance striking a chord within her. Tom watched her struggle with the conflict between flight and fight, a delicately orchestrated dance of emotions that he too felt reflected back at him. Every dog had its own routine, a familiar idiosyncratic rhythm he had observed intimately. But now their energy felt like a tidal wave. As he stepped closer, almost instinctually synchronizing his movements with hers, he drew her attention back to him. He was there, not just as her guardian but as an ally in her fight against fear. "Let's join them," he urged, more to himself than to Bella. Taking a deep breath, he sprinted forward, urging her to follow. This was no longer just about her. This was a reclamation of their shared journey. Tom let himself go, reveling in the whimsy of the moment. His body, fueled by burgeoning confidence, propelled him forward as he danced around the golden retriever, encouraging play. To his shock, Bella mirrored his actions. She bounded forth, her legs stretching in newfound freedom as she embraced the unfamiliar chaos, tail wagging. Tom felt a rush of adrenaline as he marveled at the transformation happening before him. For each leap she took, he felt his own burdens lighten. Could it be? Perhaps this wasn't just Bella thawing out. Maybe he was too. Caught between exuberance and apprehension, he stood still, watching her fit into the mosaic with grace. The golden retriever and another enthusiastic beagle welcomed her into their games, their playful instincts drawing out a camaraderie that had previously seemed impossible. The sound of laughter from nearby owners faded as he became lost in the sight of their evolving dynamic, a moment forged in laughter and hope. But lurking within that jubilation, a familiar trepidation still lingered in the back of Tom's mind. The park was becoming densely populated. What if it became overwhelming? Suddenly he felt the pressure of expectation weighing him down again. What if this was just a fleeting success? Could he really pull her back if panic settled in? His heart raced, thoughts cascading like wild rapids through his mind. Was it time to pull her away? "No!" he chastised himself. "She's found her stride." Instead of retreating into his doubt, he clenched his jaw and raised the stakes. "Let's go deeper into this," he decided, pushing through his fear and propelling himself into the thick of the play. Yet there were so many dogs now, each boundless spirit filled with its own uncertainties without a care for the emotional layers beneath. As Bella dashed recklessly into their midst, he saw her momentarily hesitating amidst the swirling chaos, caught between play and anxiety. Tom's breath caught as the reality hit him. This was no longer just about him leading her. It was about their fight for freedom through the chaos. And as that moment of clarity crystallized, he understood. Vulnerability was a shared trait. Now more than ever, both he and Bella needed to find their way, not just alongside each other, but within this mess of exuberance. Could they adapt to thrive in the unpredictable? But just as an invigorating spark flickered in his heart, a deep bark erupted from a nearby Rottweiler, drawing Bella's attention. It was a standstill in the dance of their liberation. Would she freeze? Would fear grip her once more? Or could they weave their way through this challenging turn together? The rhythmic clamor swallowed the air as Tom took a resolute step forward. He had to believe in her as much as he believed in himself. This was their defining moment, a test that could lead either to revelation or retreat. The thunderous bark echoed across the park, a clarion call that sliced through the joyous chaos surrounding them. Tom's heart raced as he saw Bella freeze, her body taut with fear. Instinctually, he mirrored her hesitation, caught between his protective instincts and the pressing realization that this was their moment to break through the barriers strung between them. "Focus on me, Bella," he urged, his voice sharpening with urgency. He stepped closer, narrowing the emotional distance that threatened to engulf them both. Her eyes, wide and glimmering with doubt, flicked toward him, gauging whether he would be the anchor in the tempest swirling around them. Straining against the instinct to retreat, he leaned into their shared experience. Bella was not alone in this moment. They were entwined in their struggles, both vulnerable, yet determined to forge ahead. "You can do this," he asserted, channeling a conviction that felt almost foreign. The Rottweiler barked again, loud and imposing, but Tom knew that fear was born of perception, not reality. "Remember that golden retriever?" he asked softly, his voice a patch of calm in the storm. "They're just dogs, having fun. We can too." He took a tentative step forward, positioning himself between Bella and the perceived threat. As he moved, he could sense the shift within her, an echo of his own resolve. The flutter of doubt in her expression began to wane, replaced by the tentative curiosity he had seen before. Tom trusted in this change, in the notion that it was not just about withdrawal, but embracing the multifaceted nature of their new environment. Before he could second-guess his strategy, he jogged a few steps, glancing back over his shoulder with a smile. "Let's show them what we've got, huh?" With a soft wave of his hand inviting her, he ignited a spark of courage in her spirit. Bella hesitated only for a fraction of a heartbeat before following his lead, her powerful legs propelling her forward. The din of barking faded into an exhilarating background score, replaced by the rhythmic thud of her paws keeping pace alongside his own. Tom felt an electric jolt of possibility surge through him as he ran, matching Bella's newfound enthusiasm. They darted through the throng of jubilant dogs, weaving past them like dancers rediscovering an old waltz. He threw a glance at the Rottweiler, now just another part of the playful tapestry. Here, vulnerability transformed into strength. The park filled with dogs was not the predator it had once seemed. This moment was freeing, yet each joyful bound brought a surge of urgency. The thrill titillated, but also prompted a deeper questioning. Was he out of the shadows of his insecurities, or merely dancing upon the edge? The reconciliation of fears was not merely about Bella. It was an unveiling of his own latent potential, his ability to pivot from anxiety to courage, to believe in himself as much as he did in her. As they broke away from the chaotic pack, a corner of Tom's mind grazed the edges of a daunting revelation. Was this leap of faith merely a moment, or the beginning of an ongoing journey of introspection and growth? He needed to confront the truth, that while he nurtured Bella's development, his own personal evolution was also inextricably linked to her. Just then, Bella pulled up short, her ears pricked in a different direction, and Tom's heart dropped. Ahead lay a group of dogs engaged in something far more structured, their play suddenly morphing into discord. The tension in the air was palpable. He could sense the imminent conflict brewing. "Hold on," he murmured, pulling up beside her, both of them now at a crossroads once again. "What do we do now?" The pivotal moment hovered in the air, and Tom braced himself, acutely aware that every step forward from here would demand more than individual bravery. It required a unity of purpose that neither of them had fully mastered yet. The stakes were rising, and he felt the pressure of their burgeoning potential against the unpredictability of their surroundings. As the contorted harmony of barking grew louder, a primal instinct rippled through him. Would he take charge, steering her through chaos once more, or would they falter as the winds of uncertainty blew around them? The choice loomed, crackling with energy. Tom's gaze narrowed on the roiling group of dogs ahead, their barks escalating into an uneasy cacophony. The brisk air felt charged with the promise of something significant, an impending trial that both terrified and exhilarated him. He could feel Bella's body tense beside him, her instincts scanning for danger, and it mirrored the turmoil roiling within his own mind. "Stay close," he instructed firmly, the urgency in his voice tinged with an undercurrent of resolve. He was no longer merely a spectator to Bella's fears. He was a participant in a shared quest, an arena of growth and self-discovery. The choice before him was stark: allow fear to dictate their next steps, or channel the energy of the uncertainty into something constructive. "All right, Bella, let's turn this around," he murmured, exuding a calm he didn't fully feel but knew was necessary. Shoulders squared, Tom took a deliberate step forward, choosing to embrace whatever unfolded ahead rather than shying away. With each step, he became aware of his own heartbeat, a steady pulse reminding him of his purpose. This was not solely about Bella's growth. It was about forging a path through his own insecurities. He recalled the thrill of racing through the park, the laughter that echoed in his mind, and the way vulnerability had transformed into camaraderie. But this situation felt different. The discordant chorus of barking hinted at unresolved tensions, breeding hostility that he had yet to master. The signal was clear. The group of dogs needed guidance, and if he couldn't provide it, who would? "Let's be brave together," Tom said, a mantra that started to take root in his heart. Each word reinforced his commitment to their journey, propelling him toward the gathering. As they crested the hill, the scene below unfolded like a chaotic tableau. Dogs leaping and barking, some caught in frenzied play while others maintained a tense stance, their hackles raised. The sight sent shivers through him, a reminder of the unpredictability that lurked behind every interaction. This was about more than just Bella. Tom felt the pull of responsibility, his instinct to mediate and resolve. He had always been the one to soothe others' worries, yet was he prepared to manage his own? "Let's focus on understanding them," he conveyed to Bella, feeling her tense muscles relax slightly at the cadence of his voice. How could he guide her through this moment of potential conflict without succumbing to his own doubts? Would he gather the courage to navigate the situation as a leader, or would he falter, falling back and allowing chaos to unfold? The dogs began to circle, their body language shifting as they sensed Tom and Bella's entrance into their frenetic world. A tricolor shepherd eyed Bella, tail wagging but stance guarded, while a feisty beagle seemed to rally the others into a playful frenzy. Tom exhaled slowly, grasping the hilt of his commitment. He recognized this for what it was, not merely a confrontation of dogs, but a potential breakthrough in understanding, both for him and for Bella. It was a test of empathy and composed presence under the looming threat of agitation. "Stay close," he repeated, but this time it was accompanied by a quiet determination not to retreat but to engage, to forge a bridge where none had existed. Could he not only shield Bella, but also assert himself in the midst of contention? A decision loomed. The moment was ripe with tension, crackling with uncertainty, and rich with the potential to transform fear into understanding. As Tom advanced, he felt the weight of the world shift beneath his feet, and just as he began to bridge that gap, the tension snapped further. The beagle lunged forward suddenly, barking aggressively, and the shepherd shifted to block Bella's path. "Now!" Tom shouted, his heart racing at the surge of the unexpected, knowing that one wrong move could set off a chain reaction. The leap into the unknown beckoned, and with it came a deeper question. Would they rise together or get lost in the chaos? The time to confront his own insecurities had truly arrived, and only clarity of purpose could steer them through this storm. Tom stood poised on the brink of chaos as the tension of the moment coiled tightly in his chest. Bella shifted nervously by his side, her instincts flaring against the backdrop of the raucous dog park. In that heart-stopping instant, he recognized that this wasn't just about the confrontation ahead. It was a defining moment for both of them. As the beagle lunged forward, barking aggressively, something shifted within Tom. "Stay close, Bella," he murmured, his heartbeat echoing in his ears, a steady reminder of his commitment to protect and guide her. Instead of yielding to fear, he would fashion this challenge into an opportunity for growth for both of them. Tom took a deep breath, steadied himself, and stepped forward. The sight of the beagle's antics, a mix of playful energy and territorial stance, transformed his trepidation into resolve. "Let's show them what we can do," he whispered reassuringly to Bella. As the shepherd positioned itself defensively at their side, Tom could feel Bella's uncertainty pulse through him. He had to demonstrate his newfound confidence, not just to quell the brewing storm, but also to embolden Bella. "It's all right, I'm right here," he said, his voice steadying as he focused on the surrounding atmosphere. In that precarious moment, he recalled the lessons he had learned from Sarah about Bella's needs, her sensitivity to loud noises and unpredictable situations. "We step into this together," he asserted, navigating the chaos with intentionality. He had reached a turning point where he could no longer afford to remain passive. He had to be active, not just as her shelter but as a nurturing guide. Moving closer to the tension-filled gathering, Tom's presence infused the environment with an air of calm as he projected assurance. Bella glanced at him, finding solace in his unwavering gaze. "Show them who you are," he urged softly. With newfound strength, she took a tentative step forward, aligning her spirit with his. Tom maneuvered through the pack, staying rooted beside Bella as she registered the atmosphere shifting around her. The beagle's barking lost momentum as it caught sight of their unified front. It took tentative steps back, drawn in by the surge of Bella's confident energy, mirrored through their bond. Miraculously, the dark clouds of uncertainty began to dissipate. Tom felt something remarkable blossom within him, a sense of agency and purpose he had long buried beneath worry. This moment wasn't a battle. It was a testament, a bridge they were building together. As the pack of dogs resumed their play, their energy dulled in Tom's perception. "Let's go, Bella," he invited, his voice carrying a newfound authority over the noise of the park. This time, they wouldn't falter. They would leap forward, transforming fear into opportunity. Together, they slipped into the rhythm of playful chaos, Bella's tail wagging with newfound enthusiasm. As they rejoined the jubilant dogs, he recognized how exhilarating the freedom was not just for Bella, but for himself. Tom allowed laughter to escape his lips, a buoyant expression of relief and triumph. Bella bounded beside him, her body language exuding warmth and joy. She thrilled to the spontaneity around her, and within that embrace of communal energy, both dog and man rediscovered the essence of connection. This was their moment, not only a celebration of Bella's growth but also a profound turning point in Tom's journey. Engagement became their liberation. This day was punctuated by joy and an uncommon resolve. They had ventured into the unknown and emerged victoriously, asserting themselves not only as a father and his beloved dog, but as integral parts of a shared tapestry constructed from courage and empathy. As they basked in the warmth of the sun filtering through the leafy canopy, Tom turned his gaze toward the sky above. The burdens of his past faded, replaced with the invigorating certainty of a path forging ahead. A future not shackled by fears, but vibrant with healing and possibility. With Bella by his side, he had proven that facing the darkness and uncertainty of insecurities was where true growth resided. There lay not merely a path strewn with difficulties, but a road laced with opportunities for both of them to flourish. Looking down at Bella, who now danced gleefully among her newfound friends, Tom realized he had conquered more than just a moment of fear. He had reclaimed his own identity as a nurturing father and courageous protector. It was a journey of realignment, not just Bella's journey to trust, but his own evolution towards hope and fulfillment. As they immersed themselves in the joyful chaos, the shadows of the past remained far behind. Each bark and playful bark served as a resounding affirmation of their collective potential, unearthing endless possibilities for tomorrow. This victory was theirs, and as they ran together, laughing and engaging in a world transformed, Tom felt a flooding sense of satisfaction settle deep within him. He was ready to embrace and elevate every future endeavor that awaited, with Bella at his side. In a moment of clarity, he understood the urgency of their transformation. Life itself was inviting them to venture forth and bloom. And upon that realization, one final thought echoed through him. What existence they would coexist and rejoice in from now on. Now is the moment for you to seize your personal growth journey. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. It makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about this profound conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformative tale. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the vitality of supporting the channel through these actions.